Darek. Hi, Michał.
Hey guys.
Um, so, as we planned today's short live about our fall term that just passed, I don't know, just like at the end of the year, we want to show you our students' final works and give them feedback, and you can also see how the workflow on the year on the term is in our school. For that one who don't join us yet in school.
Awesome. All right, great. So we can just because we didn't really do like that sort of like summary, and we would like to go over the stuff, and hopefully, since you guys been part of this last term, and we are doing it mostly for you, we wanted to basically back check and at how you guys are going and how everyone is really doing in terms of like homework. So we should start actually, of course, with the intro classes first. So the first one will be the intro to digital painting. As you can see, we have this like just a mood board of pictures that was being created by the last through those like 6 weeks. And we definitely see some strong points, and I'm really actually very happy with the output, even though like looking at that is just the intro class. There is a lot of material that students already I would say assimilated and basically really understood well in terms of like simplification, you know, and brush efficiency, color usage, basic understanding of composition. So something that's really, really important and not very obvious that even like advanced students are still doing those mistakes, which is pretty cool that, you know, no matter what skills you are, you can always get better, right? Like even when you actually have those skills of the advanced and fundamentals, you can still like improve upon them, which is really, really important, right? So I don't know if we want to go like all piece by piece, but generally speaking, we had like a pretty intimate group of like 5 people in the intro to digital painting class, and they've been doing a lot, right? So like you can see like some of the exercises on simplification. We're really pushing ourselves towards like understanding how we can actually read the colors and understand the colors by just looking at the pure brush efficiency, right? Something that's really really important, and a lot of people are basically getting like muddy colors and mishmashed brush strokes because they don't really see, they don't perceive colors as a solid full opacity color we can actually operate with. And this basically is this problem that I think all classes have. I would say even the advanced students have this problem. So like I think it's very important that doing those exercises not only by, you know, providing the very detailed study, but also by doing you know, this like a more simplified version of brush strokes, just to see the colors as they are, not just how we think they are, just basically by understanding what we are basically looking at, right? How do you zoom in this? Okay, control. So I just wanted to show the example from the, I think this is by, who is this? William. So he's been like seeing the colors very well for across the course, but he was making some mistakes on, you know, when he was like mixing and showcasing like highlights. He kind of like put them in a very dirty way because he didn't really understood how he can like simplify within the simple proper colors values, right? So when we start like pushing him towards like understand it by using like a non-opacity, full on brush efficiency, I would say that he started getting that, and you can see that his studies became better and better, right? So you can see this example, pretty nice, right? And the final examples, he even like started like playing around with the stylistic approach to that, which not always is the best approach when you don't have like a full control over colors. But it became like apparent that he is overall more aware of his stuff. I don't see many more of his stuff, so I would say these were the last kind of pieces from his workload. Maybe Michal would like to add something to that. Maybe you can just quickly go over the other people as well, like Wei. Maybe you wanna talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. Hello, everyone, as well. Thank you for joining. For those of you that are watching, for those of you that have been part of our term, you probably know what this is all about. If you are watching this out of curiosity, you're new to the community, then welcome. This session is more of a spontaneous session to summarize our last term, like Wojtek said, and to give a sneak peek for people that are interested in our school. We go extensively and very deep and far when it comes to understanding why we make certain decisions. When it comes to painting, covering the fundamentals. Here we see the examples of the intro to digital painting class. That class is more about the presentation skills, your foundation skills, and not so much regarding design. Yet it is a fundamental core class which is run by both me and Darek, and we have been fine-tuning it from term to term, and the results are visible here. You can definitely see that we have a lot of studies. I have no idea how to navigate through this new software. How do you pen, for example?
Just need to...
you need to press 300,000 buttons at the same time?
Yeah, I just copying for some reason. Sorry for it.
Yeah, we should have used PureRef in the end, I think.
Yeah.
This
Typical.
Yeah. Because I tried to pen. In any way, you can see that we have a lot of photos next to the subject matter that is being painted. We do that very often. We make photos. We use both photos from the internet. We task our students to go out there in nature, stay connected with the real world in order to have an even further and deeper understanding of the reality that we find ourselves in, right? You can see, for example, this work over here, if you can zoom in.
Wave, right?
Yeah. For example, what Darek was already covering, what everyone also struggles with is, for example, the right colors, right? When you compare the source material, this photo over here.
Now you can navigate, it works.
Yeah, now it works.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And you look at the painting, and then you can see that it is a pretty good study, I would say. However, there are certain fundamental things that could be even better, right? And don't get me wrong, Wei really improved from week to week. But yeah, we are teachers and instructors, so we are always demanding, no matter how good someone gets. I mean, we criticize our work all the time, me and Darek, for example. Here, for example, what troubles me the most are the colors, right? When it comes to greenery, for example, guys, it's very important to stay true and real when it comes to the green and kind of that foliage aspect. You can see that the green in the study is becoming almost too green, like toxic green, very
Artificial?
Feels very artificial because Wei was shifting towards the cool greens, right? Rather than introducing a warmer palette. You can see that grass is not really green as a artificial green plastic, for example. We can see a lot of tones that are coming through the grass, which are kind of have these earthy tones, right? They have like this brown desert khaki kind of look going on. When you move into the distance, the greens, they do start to cool off, as you can see, but not to an extent as we see it on this picture here. Furthermore, we have also perspective atmospherics, right? So we find ourselves on our planet. There is a certain atmosphere, there's fog, there's some dust settling. It all depends on the time of day. We go super deep in that in class so that everyone understands it. But to make things a little bit short and easy to understand and to have a nice summary, we can see that, for example, the mountain here in the back is becoming gray for no reason. Here we can see that it is actually maintaining its blue hue, so to speak. That has to do with our atmosphere. So we have here, in this study, we have basically a lack of understanding of colors, how foliage behaves on a deeper level, because you can see that green is a very, like, foliage green is a very hard color to play with. And furthermore, we have here the mistake of very dark values in the background, while at the same time we're using the wrong color, right? Because again, when certain things are being viewed from a distance, they should maintain that blue hue. You can notice that with other pictures. For example, with this one, you can definitely see that blueness in the distance is being maintained when we view objects from a distance, right?
Yeah.
That of course depends on the weather conditions as well. But yeah, these are, for example, the things that I wanted to point out.
Maximiliano. Yeah, I think that he
So,
really got it like really cool when it comes to like simplification of like the volume of the cloud. That's one of the topics that not only in the intro classes we usually tend to have like this problem with like showcasing the volume, the volume of water, the foam, clouds, formation of like a bigger spectrum of elements like hair. This is something that we definitely learn how to get simplified, because in the end of the day, it actually gives you a better understanding, right? And the last kind of task was just to stimulate a little bit of your brain on like more of like a traditional drawing sketches. So I think this is like a great exercise for like improving your gesture drawing, and maybe I can just even find some of the examples from our work that we also done in class. So let me navigate through that.
When you are looking, I just want to ask, do you prefer answer the question from the audience now or at the end?
We can answer now, and we can let people also talk, like let's make it like interactive.
Okay, so I see that Ahmed have the questions, so
Yeah, go ahead.
I can
please.
enter.
of course.
So I can invite right to
Some searching for
Yeah.
some sketches. Wait, where is that? I think here. So like even this sort of stuff, right? Like
Okay, so yeah, okay. So just then I will invite here Ahmed you to the stage so you can ask your questions. I think
yeah,
it would
but
be the best.
I'm gonna finish my sentence, okay? So
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So the reason why we do those tasks and exercises to connect like certain stuff, like drawing, painting, sketching on the go, is because we want to become more flexible and more comprehensive in terms of like using different methods for not only for the client work but overall for work at all, right? So we can sketch on a drawing on a paperboard, we can sketch on the canvas, we can paint, we can model, we can sculpt in 3D. That's all comes with the understanding of the fundamentals. And this, for instance, in the intro class, we do those tasks. Eventually, I wish that we had like more Wojtek, maybe in the Drive folder. But we've done that task as something that's extra to give us like that energetic flow of understanding of how to showcase your designs to the client and be basically more versatile with using the tools. Because it's great when you can actually master certain stuff, like, hey, I'm great at painting, or I'm great at drawing, or I'm great at like using 3D. But if you can show to your client something more, you're immediately becoming like more valuable, right? And that's something that we want to not only reflect through like certain tasks, but also like through certain like exercises, right? So through certain like ways we use that knowledge and utilize it also for commercial work, right? So that's basically giving us like an extra push. Yes, Ahmed, you had like some questions, so please go ahead now. We are very happy to make this session interactive. It's just for you guys, so like let's keep it chill and simple.
I just want to ask, how can I use reference images to learn and grow as an artist?
You wanna answer this question?
How to use references?
How can you use the references to become a better artist? I guess that was the question.
Well,
To grow as an artist.
yeah, I feel that's-
Like,
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, maybe you want to like elaborate it more because I'm not sure if I completely understand the question.
when I want to, at the start, when I want to draw from, should I draw from imagination or reference at the start?
Oh
And
no,
I-
no. You will have a better and a much more richer understanding of our world if you will use reference at all times. And there is nothing valuable or there is nothing brave about drawing from imagination because it will never be as rich and as believable and as ongoing, and you will never develop sufficiently if you only draw from imagination. It is nice, it's a good exercise, but if you want to grow seriously as an artist, you want to really research what is going on in your real world, you want to observe, you want to be an effective observer, use a vast array of references when you're making your own illustration, your own design. So yeah, I would say always use a reference.
Yeah.
We have on our YouTube channel, we have you can check out our quick art talk times where we cover certain tips and quick strategies of how to use and apply references. So we have it covered in more detail for people that are not part or were not part of our school, right?
Yeah, let's show them like maybe some.
I hope it answers the question.
Good examples of why. Wait, I'm still learning to use this Figma stuff. So, why is it like so important to use references, right? Why do you basically do the reference hunt or research at all? Is like you're not asked to do like stuff from imagination just for the sake of doing it from imagination, because we have like certain capacity in terms of like what we see, in terms of what we perceive through our brain, and we can constantly work upon like building a proper visual library. And you build it because you want to be a better designer, better ideation, I would say creator, and develop a certain sense. If you don't use a certain amount of references, if you don't help your design with a certain amount of references, your work will never be believable. Your work will never stand out. It will never shine through properly. And for instance, you can observe that this practice comes a long way, because it's not enough that you just combine like a mood board of like a 10 or 5 references and you are able to do a great design. No, it's just like it's a path, it's a journey to check different examples, different explorations, different opportunities, test out different shapes, different proportions, different methodology, even getting inspired by different elements, not only the hard surface or not only the man-made stuff, but most importantly getting an inspiration from the nature. So something that's very, very important, because whilst you are developing a certain sense, developing a certain understanding of the shape language, of understanding of like how the proportion work, then you are able to incorporate that knowledge to your own exploration sketches, and only then eventually you are able to bring more of like a finalized designs to fruition. Otherwise you will be basically like trying to prescribe or trying to execute what you have in your mind, but your visual library, your experiences of life, the amount of like you study certain shapes or study certain objects, is a minimum, is not enough, because the path of exploration, the path of like getting better and learning stuff is not just like, hey, I'm gonna just study this helicopter for like 2 days and then I'm ready to design like a epic shit. It's not like that, right? Like you have to get a certain amount of like research, a certain amount of like getting better and understand basically what you have to do. And it's not only about like designing, it's also about like studying from looking at the objects, right? So for instance, if you are studying a certain like for instance architectural elements, right, you get like, you are fortified with certain amount of references before you even start. But even when you start drawing, you'll notice that how many problems even drawing what you see brings to the table, because you have not enough of experience of like seeing stuff, understanding the architecture, understanding the material definition, understanding the proportions, because you need to first get better at observing. And this is also very important when we talk about learning. Efficient learning is something different than just learning. And it's not about the quantity. It's not about like, hey, I'm not asking you to like design like this whole castle or like this whole like a church or whatever building, and you think that, okay, I'm gonna do now 100 studies of existing castles just before I start designing my own one. It's not about that. It's not about the quantity. You might do 5 projects of the studying or 5 studies of existing castles, but when you do it properly, when you do it with understanding what you study, you will get better results when you will be doing your own designs than just basically studying 100 castles brainlessly or mindlessly without actually understanding, without doing a proper research. And research is not only visual research, but also the studying of like a theoretical knowledge, the studying of like a certain historical part, the material definition, technological aspect, how this stuff being built, how this stuff got to created in the first place, and why is this stuff was basically getting created, right? So this is, for instance, what we do in an intro class, and of course later along the way we tend to push stuff further. Do we have a thing? Yeah, so we can actually incorporate our own ideas on the, for instance, provided 3D layout. And this is already like more advanced stuff, but we like to also stimulate our students towards like understand like how hard it actually is to come up with your own ideas, even when you have when you get like the basic 3D layouts. Because when you have like certain materials to start with, you still have to do all the set dressing, you still have to do all the design part later on, even when the level design is kind of fleshed out, right? And this is just like the beginning. It's just like a basic entry to what you basically can do as a designer, because later on you are meet with the standards that is like not very easy to navigate in the very beginning, because then you get like a full-on briefing for like a world building, and then you are, for instance, like responsible for a whole street, for a whole city, for a whole map, for a whole aerial shot of the city, of the world, and then like creating like multiple different compositions just to showcase how much you have on your shoulder as a designer. Because one thing is like, yeah, it's great, we can do like this beautiful illustration or this beautiful study, but it's just the beginning. If you look at the next level, if you jump on the stuff like designing your own vehicle, like designing your whole world, for instance, right? And that's of course coming back to asset creation, to modeling skills, to 3D usage, and then like you just create like a whole compositions before you even do like a fully on, you know, more detailed shots of how the world look like, right? You have like a lot of tests. Sometimes there's like more successful, sometimes there are less successful, but it's all very important part of the process, right? So as you can see, some really cool examples, and like the deep part of like asset creation, the modeling skills, it's all basically we touch upon for the time, for the period of our courses, and then you are able to do like a more beautiful flesh out compositions, designs that are really standing out. But it just takes time to get all the informations across the weeks, and a lot of designs are getting scrapped, a lot of designs are getting like better and like refined, because that's the beauty of designing at all, right? Like some ideas we might find interesting in the beginning, but we see like, yeah, this might be not enough like a research, but not enough of like a references hunt, and we are not able actually to proceed to like a final design without actually getting back to basics. And as you can see, like we get some beautiful results, but we always check back on the fundamentals. So we actually do research, exploration, the dirty pass, you know, like the dirty sketching, we call it like a napkin sketches part of designing. And this might not be the most beautiful for the eyes, but it's very important because it's like a proper world building. Designing part is just basically having like many faces before you actually make like a nice beautiful pictures, right? And that's exactly what we do across all classes, right? Like especially it's visible when you have like a advanced designs, and you see like the final results are pretty cool, but they have the foundation of getting through all stages of like wobbly modeling, over sketches, getting back to references, getting back to explorations, basic modeling, painting over, and then we can even like incorporate like a for instance like more defined modelings, right? And we have also sometimes the students that are reoccurring and are coming back to our tasks, and they succeed in because they took time after the course to grind up to get better at certain amount of skills, and then they can revisit certain tasks because you only have as much time as the course lasts. So let's say like 8 weeks for like a advanced design bundle, right, for instance, and you basically are always doing best to like, hey, I'm gonna grind for this certain amount of like homework, so I can make it on time. But we always give you a little bit more time afterwards so you can actually craft up and get a better portfolio results, right? So another good example I'm gonna show is one of our students from the previous term that wanted to join last term task, the task that was like world building and hardware, and we combined those two classes together into like a clashing task to develop like a certain world. And this is a good example of Joaquin, and he did like a lot, and he's just like only posting a snapshot of what he's done for advanced environment class. But I know that right now, since Zorat is like my personal project, I want him to also push his stuff, push his skills, and getting back to Michal class. So since Michal joined on this task with his class to the Zorat city, we are doing designs of vehicles, we are doing designs of like environment, we are doing designs of characters. And I know that, for instance, Joaquin, whilst he came back to those tasks, with his current knowledge, with his current skill level, he, for instance, getting a much better results than what he's been doing, let's say, a year ago. So he was like doing some stuff for advanced classes as well. But I know that right now he's much better at like showcasing a proper design. He tried to basically capture a certain amount of like definition, certain amount of like skills, but he tended to cover that behind like a beautiful picture aspect. But now he is able to shine through, he's able to showcasing a beautiful aspect whilst not covering that, and while still exposing the design aspect of our classes, which is a beautiful thing, right? And do you have your chopper somewhere?
It's not finished yet.
But can you post it somewhere, or,
No,
or should
I don't have it.
I just wanted to show you some of the stuff behind the scenes that Michal was doing for this world, and this is just like a real next level stuff.
I just want to say, looking back at all these works, and also what now that I see these newest shots by Joaquin. Shit, I always mispronounce his name. Sorry. But yeah, I have amazing memories. The amount of work that has been done, guys, during the last fall term, I'm still extremely proud and super happy of what has been achieved in a relatively short amount of time, right? It always amazes me what we are all able to do when we work together in a disciplined environment. Yeah, very inspiring to see. But yeah, long story short.
So maybe
Long story short, guys, always apply and use reference, and that is not limited only to, hey, look at your picture and have a collection of images. Be an effective observer of our real world, because only then you will be able to design with a rich mindset and with fidelity and believability. Sorry, Darek, Wojtek, you wanted to say something?
So it's usually I end up just copying what I'm seeing, the reference, not understanding it at all. That's what
That's the thing. Yeah,
is up.
this is what we often say at school. There is seeing versus understanding, right? So your designs, and you have to have a comprehension of the real world, right? Meaning you need to understand, for example, when you're tackling a subject matter, let's say you're designing a piece of architecture. First, you have to understand the basics and the foundation of how buildings are being constructed. You have to ask yourself questions all the time. Being an effective observer means you're asking yourself questions. This has to do with curiosity. I think being a good designer is being curious all the time. So for example, you're designing a building, right? Okay, who built it? What technology level? What year? In what environment? Why do they even bother to construct it? So answering yourself these questions already infuse your theme with an amount of believability, and you will be forced some way, somehow, to answer these questions on a visual level, right? You cannot just, for example, here we see Darek wanted to showcase this demo that I started doing in class, right? So this is a mixture of photo bashing, some rendering, right? Just to showcase students a multifaceted problem-solving manner, right? So we do sketching, 3D, photo bashing. And because the subject matter is still kind of grounded in our world, it was still nice and easy to use real-life elements of modern jet fighters, 6th gen jet fighters, 5th gen jet fighters, use some elements from real-life helicopters, and then I fused it together with hand rendering. But this is still not finished.
I fucking love this design.
Still cool that Darek wanted to show it, but yeah, this is just the beginning. Still warming up.
Yeah.
And you can see the essence of the design, right? So this was all done in class as well. So the essence of the design, you can see it on top left part. And that's it, right? Like it has that sleek kind of shape that has been like revisited. It has, you know, this kind of fast arrow aggressive shape, right? And that's it. And then later we started to make a more defined version on top of it, right? So the base was still kind of like an Apache helicopter, and then we started to play and manipulate with photos plus rendering to have a respectable outcome in a short amount of time, right?
Yeah.
But this is only one of the ways to do it, right? So yeah.
Yeah, it's a great example because it's kind of like through reflecting through different classes, like doing hard surface stuff for like both hardware class and environment. We kind of sync up the shape language that I feel and I see in this world that I want to reflect through our designs. And even when we kind of like combine them together, those ideas, it become basically as a whole, right? So like normally if you just design like certain like a asset like the chopper or like certain like a vehicle, it still fits well within the theme of like how the world or how the environment looks like, right? So that's the beauty of that. That's the really our goal with our task. And I also have some of the vehicles. I also have like some of the world's sketches that I've been grinding recently.
Dude, didn't you have like multiple
Yeah, I'm,
shots of the
I'm trying
spaceship?
to
You want to
find
show it right now?
Yeah,
or-
I just need to stop.
Yeah, because you did it in 3D already, right?
Yeah, I need to stop streaming for a bit because I have some files that I need to.
Meanwhile, are there maybe any other
Any questions? Yeah, let's.
That's why we're here,
Yeah,
you know,
so-
the interaction.
So, Ahmed, I hope it did answer your question. So, to short summarize, remember to try to understand what you are drawing, not only just copy. You have to use references, but you also have think what you are drawing, not just only copy, and learn about that. I think. Yeah, we also put that in our classes to students be more curious about what they're seeing and trying to understand that and read about that. So some kind of mechanism or some kind of parts of vehicles, so they know how they work. So I think this helped to avoid this copying and not understanding.
Yeah, like for me,
so I-
it's always like for me, it kind of sticks out that you need to create like based upon like what you understand as a designer is because you basically get that knowledge from the inspiration that you can actually find within the references. Because if you try to come up with something cool just for the sake of coming up with something cool, you will never get the same results if you don't do a proper exploration and research. But also you need to study, I would say, if you do like a new let's say helicopter design, you just need to get to know how the real life vehicle look like, how it works, what the mechanism about it, what's the function about certain elements. So even when you understand like what sort of like props are scattered across the body of helicopter, you already have some good indication of what elements you can already incorporate to your own custom shape design. That's why it's so important to do a proper research and to understand your references, right, in the first place.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this everything we answer your questions. So if everyone want to ask, you can raise your hand so I can also invite you on the stage so you can I can invite you so you can ask the question. And for now, thank you, Ahmed.
Awesome. Are there any more questions? Feel free to guys like.
I don't see it, but
So this is like a just example of. I don't have like the Photoshop file, but I hope that you guys can see that. So I'm of course like developing this world for a while. I have like a little bit of like briefing, a little bit of text. I'm really pushing for like finding like a unique design flow within like the world, within the city, within the platforms of Zorath cities, and within the vehicles as well, because I have some design that I'm developing in terms of like vehicle. So just like very quickly to give you an understanding that so you have like a dropship design, and it of course goes through different stages, different iterations. But as you can see, even if I just scale it down, it's
really cool.
It kind of feels like unified design. It kind of feels like it belongs to the world, right? So this design is still not finished, but I can try to play it on Blender so you can see that like more in depth in the meantime. But yeah, this is just like the example why it's so important for both of us to sync up the knowledge collectively, so we got results that are getting really really unified, right? And even as you can see, we can do it 2D way, we can do it 3D way, but look, if I just compare them both, it feels like it belongs to the one world. And that's how you basically are responsible for world building, for designing a full-on world building that's like all elements, even when you do go through a lot of explorations, because even if it's not the final design, I can go through another 5 or 4 or 10 modifications, but I know what the shape language, what design philosophy I want to follow with those designs. So Michal design, my design, and student design should actually speak for the same shape length, for the same story, right? So it basically gets rooted into that one design
language, right?
Language, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks for yeah. So this is the example of how we develop behind the scenes world building, and as you can see, there's like always.
Oh, this one is like more developed, no?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I just have it like.
Very nice.
I'm just gonna render it out. I hope it's visible, so my screen is not. It's not exploding because it's still, of course, Eevee, but when
4090 running on full power, let's go.
Yeah, but when we stream and when we show it, yeah, so
It's
like,
still smooth, man.
it's more like a clean design, right? So I'm
Very nice.
not sure about like the length of those like wings here, so I might just play around with like the engine position. But overall, even from the side view, it's exactly the shape language I would like to capture. So as you can see, this is like a beauty of like when we both work on like a world building task, and I can do vehicles, Michal can do environments, and we can just basically sync it up. And what's even more beautiful that right now we are scheduling a vast array of new courses. So this will be specified around the people that are running their own stuff, their own like methodology, their own tutorials. So I don't want to spoil anything for now because we already have planned like specific sessions for that. But that's gonna be big. That's gonna be something that we are gonna use as a supportive for our main terms. So we would be running definitely the classes that we both think that are kind of missing in terms of like the current program. So it's like more of like supportive for our the design methodology and utilizing different tools, different artists, different expertises, so something that probably you guys have been waiting for in terms of like the topic subjects is definitely something that we will fill up this year. So stay tuned for that. But we would be very happy to also take part in those classes because I'm always hyped to learn something new from the other artists, and I know Michal is the same. So we are doing the task for our own classes. We are doing tasks for our syncing up our classes, and now on top of that, having like a 5-6 different courses, we will have like a huge amount of like stuff that we can actually go for across the whole year. So something that you guys should stay tuned for. I think that's gonna be big and exciting, I guess, from the school standpoint of view. Yeah, I can't wait. And this upcoming term is gonna be awesome as well. Like we have a lot of new materials, new structures in our core terms. I think it's safe to say that we have like we're gonna have like a mixture of like a more pre-prepared stuff for our students versus live classes. So something that we even boost up our efficiency of learning and teaching methods that we tested out in the last term, and I think they went pretty well. So something that you guys should also keep in mind, and yes, stay tuned for those information, because I think this upcoming spring term will be yet another great term for our core program, and on top of that, a new courses that will be stretching upon the whole year, basically. Do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, very well said. I think that we seek always to improve our knowledge channeling from term to term. I was looking at the questions, and in order to answer that question, someone asked, is there a 1 or 2 year program? Our staff replied, we don't have those for now. But to be more specific, we have for now, we run 2 terms per year. For now, things will develop and change accordingly to the student needs and as we move forward. But for now, our registration is open for spring term 2024
And fall.
and fall. We are running 6 weeks or 8 weeks terms. The intro term is 6 weeks. The 8 week term is the advanced term. We always recommend students to take the full term, so either full intro or full advanced term. These are consisting of our 3 core classes: digital painting, environment design, hardware design. And both of these classes have their respective level, intro and advanced. It is a very zipped and very intense and demanding class, we're not gonna lie. It's not a vacation course. So if you want to join us, be serious. Probably we will carve out a lot of time out of our schedule, but we do believe that, sometimes certain sacrifices have to be made in order to, of course, achieve something. Doesn't mean that you have to work yourself to death and only work hard. We believe as much in efficiency and hard work, so we always try to mix both. The next question, I saw that any advice for someone in their mid-30s coming back into concept design, and how would you mix that, I guess, while having a full-time job, seeing family? Yes, I mean, I think as long as you are healthy and taking care as well of your health, then the age, either you're in your mid-20s, mid-30s, mid-40s, will not matter much. That's only what I think. Yes, family is important. Yes, maintaining your full job is also important. So don't sacrifice your full-time income if you are depending on it. That will be pretty unwise, I think. But yes, try to become a better managing at time. It is totally doable. When I was in my mid-20s, I had a job that I didn't like, but I had to have it for an income. And on the side, coming back from work, I would spend at least 2-3 hours on concept design. Usually it will be more. And then you always have the weekends, right? So you have to be consistent. You have to provide yourself with an amount of self-discipline to upkeep that, for example, for a year, for 2. My period was like from 21 all the way to the age of 24. It was 3 years of real hardcore hustling. And then I was able to land my first concept art job. Everyone's journey is different. Certain people that I got to know in the industry really also got in their late 30s. And now they're having smashing careers, right?
Yeah.
Good friend, I don't know if I should mention names, but why not? For example, I met Nick Foreman when I was working on Hitman. He was a beginner. Back then, he was already in his mid-30s and 30s. I'm not quite sure. But right now, he has a smashing career, right? You know, landing jobs left and right. If I'm not mistaken, he worked for Bloomcamp already. Metal Gear Solid stuff. amazing concept artist. So everything is possible, but you do have to apply self-discipline, efficient learning. Well, of course, we cover all that at school as well. That's why we exist.
Since there are like more questions emerging about the program itself, I would like to add to that the reason why we are stretching upon the calendar at the school is, as Michal said, we do the core program twice a year, but filling up the other months will give us like a good opportunity to create like a full-on yearly experience of the focal point. So regarding that question, not this year, but possibly next year's, we'll have something like a full-on year experience at focal point, so like a full year program. So something that to keep in mind. Regarding the more question that I also see, the program for the core term always changes. So like we have of course our methodology, we have our plan for like week by week. You can check it out also on our website. But of course, like hard surface stuff, hardware stuff, environments, and digital painting are the core program activities. So that's why there is always certain like repetition of the tasks, but not in a way that we repeat them every term. I mean, like of course you have the design classes, and they orbit around like certain topics. So like a hardware class is always about the vehicles, but this knowledge is actually applied to also environment design and vice versa. So I think that's very important to keep in mind that like each year has like a different theme or different topics, different subjects, because we love changing topics. So we get excited, and we are keeping our excitement level as high so we can teach the most efficiently. Whilst we are planning on like adding more courses to that, you will see that we will be touching upon like a different topic. So from the environment, the vehicles, to characters, to prop design, to modeling, animation, and stuff like that, right? So keep in mind that the focal point experience starts with a core term, but it's gonna expand from there, right? So like that's something that we will be announcing in upcoming weeks and months. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled, I would say. But this is something that keep in mind, right? There's an interesting question from
camera on? Sorry.
Camera is on our recording. So we have like interesting question from Simon. An advice for people who already work in the industry but also want to roll a class. However, due to time, they cannot always attend or do assignments. Maybe I will start first. Maybe Mikan can support me. I think we also, as you notice, if you go to our website, let me just very quickly go to that. If you go to our courses page, we have like of course like a full terms. We have a separate classes, but we also added recently in the last term, we also add like design bundles. So design bundles are mostly designed for the people who are already in the industry, and they don't want to spread across all three classes. They want to just combine the hardware and environment classes together. So it's a good chunk of class that basically operate within like combining like certain themes. So for instance, if this year theme was Zorat, was like a sci-fi world building, we operated within that, and Michal was created with his students the designs for this world from the vehicles, and I was creating the world building with my students and the environment class. And this is very good for the people who are in the industry because they can actually focus on like a proper world building task that's like operating within like the environment or architecture, but also within like vehicles. So you basically end up getting like a more portfolio ready project in the end of the day. And those bundles are also created with a certain discount. So as you can see, if you just basically buy classes separately, it's like $400 more than if you buy it in a pack together. So we are, of course, within more classes, more courses coming in this, and next year we will be applying more and more bundles. So this bundle is actually created for people that are more like working already professionally, and I basically want to just focus on the portfolio building tasks or the tasks that will elevate their skills to the next level, right? So keep that in mind, that we think about all those things because we see certain people coming to Poland, certain people coming to our location and work with us in classes, work with us for 8 weeks, live here, or basically rent a place, and basically are fully I would say condensed and fully motivated, dedicated to just that course. But also there is a fraction of people that just join us online and they already have a full-on career, so they design day to day and they just want to focus maybe on one class or a specific design task. So for the specific design classes, we rather encourage those people to join design bundle rather than like going full-on term and basically stretch upon their timing across free courses. So we keep in mind all those things because we have worked with different people, we have worked with so many different students, and we see that sometimes for some of them it's actually better to just take a full-on 6 or 8 weeks experience and just fully devote to that. Or if they are already working in the field, in the industry, they just can focus on that specific class, right? So please keep that in mind. We have all that covered. You're just gonna go, you can check all that information on our website. We usually do bundles with this in mind because we rather want to have people just focus on those classes rather than a full term. But then also for the students that are actually planning on like a whole year or full 1 year experience, we will be launching something like that. Definitely not this year, but probably next year, when you basically will be able to just purchase like one tuition fee for like a whole year of experience, and then you will have the access to all classes, whether you are just online or physical class, right? So that's very important that we are constantly adjusting our program to the industry needs, to the students' needs, and also for making it the best experience from our point of view, right? So if you want to add something to that, Michal?
No, I'm not really. No further input. I think that was very informational. The only thing that I can say to Simon, right, and to everyone else is when you decide to sign up, please make sure to attend all the classes. Make the most out of it. It's your resources. It's your time, our time, and I think it is very important that you carve out a clean schedule in order to make enough time, do the assignments, to really make the most out of it. So yeah.
Yes, I also want to add that you can always ask the questions here on Discord in channel questions channel about the courses, about all stuff that you're interested in our school. So I'll be happy to answer you. Or you can write to us via mail. So we also be happy to help you find the best classes and courses for you. And yeah, so maybe we can back to
when we were having fun, right? Again, sitting here again with Darek, going through these works really triggers all those memories from last term. And I myself, I think Darek thinks the same. I cannot wait to be back in school again. There's a lot of preparation. We work on our program and our lecture program every day. There is a lot of work behind the curtains, but it's in the end all for the best of our students. If there are no further questions, guys,
let's maybe one more question. So
just watching out for the time. Is it already?
Yeah, it's almost like a full 1 hour, so we can keep it like a nice and short. But maybe one more last question from the audience, and then we can
wrap up.
We can summarize, and of course, what we can say is definitely like you guys stay tuned for a lot of information. We really like pulling strings this year to get something more going on this year, and it's just the beginning for us. So A lot of great and informative stuff coming. Like a lot of activities. Also, Wojtek recently tidied up our Discord channel a little bit more. So we are also planning on like opening specific activities just for Discord. We will have also a lot of stuff actually going for Discord. Like
I think don't have to say everything. The show
yeah, I'm
is
not saying anything.
slowly
I'm
we're
just,
showing up.
I'm just
Uh,
teasing, right? So like, but yeah, if there's any questions or not, if not, we can wrap it up. I guess this was a nice and informative session.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I would like to. I'm very happy that quite a bunch of people joined us for such a spontaneous session. And since you are here with us, stay here with us till the end. You can have time to like write maybe your last question. But we are very happy to announce that by the end of this session, information will be put out for a 10% discount code for all our courses for our upcoming spring term. So that is something that we always want to
give back.
Want to give back to the community in a way from our own expense, because it's teaching is our passion, and we really look forward into this year and how it is going to further develop. And in the end, we can only be successful as a school if you are successful, and that's in the end our end goal, right? To provide the best concept design knowledge for our students. So 10% discount on. There will be a discount code put out for everyone that attended here today with us.
That's why it's worth actually joining live, right?
That's the thing, right? That's the thing. And you'll be able to, you can then decide, you can go through our website, pick maybe, what might be the best for you. If there are questions, please email us. We are always eager to advise and recommend for you the best possible option in your case, right? We understand that, for example, not everyone can take a whole full term that consists of 3 classes, right? So what can we then do so that you can still attend to everything, but maybe take 1 class, maybe take 2 classes, maybe take 1 class in the spring, or second class, or a bundle, right? So there are options in order to fit your needs and to fit into your lifestyle. But either way, you will have to make time for it, because we are serious about it, and you have to also be serious about your own skill increase. It is your life, and it's an investment in your own skill. So
Maybe at the end we can show the workflow of this of today of the fall term students, so we can go for the board with the homework, so everyone can see.
What do you mean? Like to showcase one more time the works that have been
done? I think we can go like for the boards with the homeworks to see how the difference between hardware between the advanced and the intro classes look.
That's a very good point, because we started very simple, right? We started with it seems like very simple, but for instance, like in this advanced environment class, we started like with redesigning a map from Call of Duty, right? So like I was just providing like a simple 3D layout. I actually found like a whole map from the old Black Ops game. So basically I put it on for the students so they could actually craft up on top, like painting over, define their colors and textures and their rendering skills, like to really bump it up. So as you can see, we kind of stretch it across like 2 weeks. And then I already give them like some exercise to like study compositions. We were like doing like some lecture on that, and the basics of design and principles of design. And then I already wanted to jump on the Zorat's world, because this is like such a huge task. So as you can see, this took us like 5 weeks, and still students are finalizing some of those designs. So like going through like different stages, asset creation. I was also recording some of like tutorials for them how to use certain tools. So this was actually something that I mentioned in terms of like why we incorporate like a new methodology. because we want to combine pre-recorded classes with the live sessions, because there is always a lot of stuff we want to talk about and we want to show, but there is certain techniques that might just take a little bit more time for students to actually learn. So we record behind the scenes certain like exercises, showcasing them how to develop certain tool set, and then they just basically put it onto their final designs, right? So it's very cool that we are constantly working towards like getting better at certain teaching methods, right? So here's a very structurized workflow, and this actually goes through all the classes, as you can see with the class in Michal class.
So now that you just to be clear, you are showing the environment class.
Yeah, it was
overview,
advanced
and
environment,
this is
but this is
yeah.
advanced hardware.
Yeah.
So we start, of course, with studies. So started understanding like the vehicles, understanding the technology, understanding the historical part. Then you go into your developing your own design sense. Then there is a certain theory and lectures on like using the 3D for your advantage. So I've been part of this class also when Michal was showing his methods of like designing in 3D. Super cool. Exposing also new tools so we can try and test out your workflows, getting better at modeling, getting better at like designing and presentational aspect. I feel that your students are still finishing up some of the homeworks. I think this one is pretty cool for a final project. And as you can see, it just goes a long way, right? So like you go through explorations phases, you go through studying, you go through understanding of like a certain techniques. So we constantly evolve with that and we change stuff so it's more and more efficient each term. And of course, it's very obvious that there is like a certain level of students that are getting better and better, and everyone starts at different points. So we are adjusting classes accordingly to the students' level, right? So it's very important that you keep that in mind, right? So this is our workflow. Our workflow totally develop as we go with like more terms. So like in advanced classes, there's always like a more of like a trending tools, trending like methods, but we still craft for like more like a portfolio ready pieces, getting you better and getting you into like industry field. Whilst in intro classes, we study more. We study basically real life environments. We study real life objects. We start to understand what the proportions are, what the perspective is, what material definition is, what lighting is, about what the colors are. So as you can see, we study all sorts of like materials also given on like a basic cubes. This exercise is always amazing to stimulate your brain to understand how to get certain results with just like within like a simple boxes, right? So methodology and certain tasks are always our focal point tasks. We call them like a standard and classic focal point tasks, but we love to incorporate new stuff. We bring sometimes the stuff to the classes so people can actually interact with the objects. It's very important that you're not losing the physical aspects. That's why we also encourage students to come physically to the classes. That's why we also open ourselves on like running classes in a hybrid form, right? So we run online and physical at the same time. Like online class is basically streamed from the physical class because we have our faculty and we basically run the classes from there. So if the student wants to come by, if the student wants to interact with us in class, they come to the class. If the students cannot, they join us online. We have our own platform, we have our own streaming platform, so everything is secured. You have like a certain like access to that only when you are our students. So all the data, all the stuff we're doing live is secured, right? So it's very important for us also that we keep it exclusively to our students. But through those like live sessions, as today, you can see that we are revealing a little bit of what's behind the scenes. So yeah, that's how we operate, and that's how we operate. That's how we gonna operate with the next on terms and next courses that will be run by different people. And I think we are all excited to what's to come ahead, because we have a lot in our store for what's to come. Yeah, that's for me. I'm already pretty dry on my mouth, so like
Take some water. Take some water.
yeah.
Okay, great. I think this was very informational, informative for everyone. Yeah, so you can, as you can see, the summarized, the advanced classes are more focusing on designing and going for the forging the skills to be to have like the good portfolio pieces on the end of the term. When the intro is is focusing more on studying and learning how to study correctly. So
Yeah, exactly.
so to better understand how to study and how to improve faster
Yeah.
your skills. So you can like see that the intro building the fundamentals for the advances terms also.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a good actually idea from Simon that asked if we have like any bracket or any like any template to showcase the difference between the class. I mean like intro and advanced. Of course, you can judge it also by the students' work and what we teach in certain classes. But I think this sort of like board will be a great idea. So as you can see, we all learn. So like a great idea, Simon. Thank you for that. We definitely will do that. Since we are also expanding on our website that was launched last year, we will be improving that a little bit more towards like more activities that we are going to do. So this board will be definitely there, I guess. That's a great idea. Thanks for that. That's why we also do those live sessions, so we can actually see what are the expectations of our students, what are expectations of the future students or the students that are already occurring, right? So that's the big value in it.
Yeah, also we have the new channel suggestions, so you can write your what you want to see in Focal Point School.
Oh, that's a good
So
idea.
you can also
Yes.
So in the
your ideas, what
in
you
the
guys want to see.
yeah, I add that in this changing and the new year of redesigning Focal Point Discord structure. So we have now the suggestion channel. So yeah, we want you to encourage to write there what you want to see from us, and we will judge that and see what we can improve and what we can give you.
Yeah, great idea. That's why we constantly also work on that. Like the Discord is our like little community, and we're gonna keep that, right? Like back in the days, there was like Facebook. Back in the days, we had like I think the Facebook groups were big. I remember when I was starting out Level Up like 10 years ago or so or more.
More, man.
It was like over 100,000 people, but the groups were actually trendy back then. Now Facebook is dead, so we are seeking, of course, for the new term, for the new, I would say not term, for the new ways of like interacting with the community. And of course, we are active on Instagram, on Twitter. I would say even Twitter better these days. But as a school, we want to interact with our students like directly. So I think Discord is a great thing. And yeah, just after this, please share information about Discord if you can. We are building something cool here. Like community is growing day by day. It's steadily growing, but I think it's a great place for Focal Point to be. That like we can actually go back a little bit in time with those like a board times where you could actually critique your work, when you can get some activities together. So I think Discord is the best, I guess, right now for that. So we will be launching a lot of stuff for that.
Yeah, all of information about new things that will happening. We don't have like exact date when we post it, because there will be a lot different different information showing during whole the year. So Sonia, yeah, you have to be on the Discord and check the FPS All News channel to be
Yeah,
in touch what happening
but
in
since
our schools.
we've made like a good round of of preparation for upcoming courses, we will be probably launching something within 2 or 3 weeks in terms of like information about like next stuff, because we want to release it in fractions. We don't want to release like a whole. We don't want to spoil the whole play. We don't want to spoil the whole fan. So there will be definitely a lot of stuff coming in, and we want to keep it substantially according to our schedule. And our schedule is still like filling up in terms of other stuff. We only have right now set in stone certain dates. Of course, core dates are always set in stone like a year in advance, but the next courses will be successively released through our channels, through our Discord as well.
Yeah. We have two questions. I don't know if we have time.
Yeah, I was actually going through them, so maybe let's
we can just quickly go.
yeah, let's go through them a little bit so that we don't leave you guys hanging. I see there a question that how long do you have to wait before we announce new stuff? Well, first of all, it's
I
very
said it already, right?
yeah, it's first of
Yeah,
all
we are
we are
already
not restructuring anything. We're expanding, so everything that is right now up for grabs, it will stay. Our core classes, our core terms will be always there. So just make that clear. We are just naturally expanding as the demand grows and as we move forward with the main pillars that we are also still missing as a small school. We are a small school, but very intensive when it comes to teaching, right? We have here a question from a former student. So, hey, this is also great to hear from you again. You're actually already working in the field, if I'm not mistaken. So I hope that you're healthy and doing well. How important do you guys think it is to be flexible in different kinds of software, given that your fundamentals are there? So yeah, well said. You kind of answer it almost yourself, because your foundation must be always there. The fundamental array of your skill set needs to be there, meaning you need to know how materials are working, light, perspective. That is extremely important, no matter if you end up drawing, 3D modeling, sketching. I would say that you should always prioritize the design aspect, because right now tackling and learning a new tool is relatively easy. Free YouTube videos are always there, how to navigate through, an interface in order to find out how to render, how to set up a render camera. It's relatively easy compared to the aspect of actually designing something new and unique. That being said, it is not wise to ignore and not to dive into 3D packages like Blender or Unreal, which are actually for free. So it would be foolish not to test around and play with it, right? However, at the same time, prioritize design and your fundamentals, right? Yeah. It is extremely important. Yeah, all the art directors that I'm working with, producers, well, more art directors, that are responsible for hiring in the end, they all look at your design ability rather than, oh, does he know Blender? Yeah, well, that is also important, but it is extremely, extremely important to know design well, right?
Yeah, but what if he already has like a good fundamentals? That was the question.
Then expand on softwares, yeah, because we are in a very competitive industry. I'm not gonna lie. That's also why this school exists, to really make students aware of what to teach, what kind of knowledge to channel, how to prepare them in order to be a professional, stay dedicated and disciplined, right? It is not easy to be a concept designer, right? It is. I'm not saying that we are like geniuses and rocket scientists, but it requires a lot of energy to be a well-established designer and to make a living out of it, right?
That's always like when it comes like clashing ideas, because for instance, I know that for instance we both have like fundamentals there, right? Like a lot of our students also have, But I also noticed that there's like certain requirement in the industry that okay, you can be a veteran. That's one thing, but you can all like being veteran and having job is one thing, but being veteran and staying relevant is something different. So, for instance, like from my experience, like of course, you have when you have a name and you have like a certain like a skill set people know you from, you get the job, right? Like you always be gonna be the first choice. But when you can actually show something extra, like for instance, we are incorporating like new stuff. Like I'm learning recently like animation and like doing concept art in a more like I would say movement way. So we can actually show like designs in a move. That's something that I kind of feel again super excited about to learn, and I see that the clients and like the perceiving of what you're doing is changing when you can actually do something that's like setting a trend or like basically following up like a new wave of like explorations, because we never forget about like drawing, we never forget about painting, we never forget about like 2D skills. But when you can actually combine all them and basically like show that you can also like hey, I'm gonna right now like going towards like more of like a direction or kind of like a direction, I think that's great, because it gives you like a new wave of excitement. It gives you like a new wave of like of motivation to keep on grinding, right? So I would say
And it
yes.
shows you a new way of showcasing your ideas in the end.
Yeah, exactly. So that's supporting actually what Michal said. Like I think it's of course first and foremost fundamentals, but when you have them, yeah, being flexible and understand like new topics, new tools, getting flexible with them is making you even more valuable than just being a veteran with great skills.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I want to basically reflect.
We teach you to be a concept artist, but then we also always will push you to how to be an outstanding concept artist, right?
Yeah.
That is what we wanted to kind of wrap up in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Shall we, speaking about wrapping up, shall we wrap up this session, or
Yeah,
are there
we
any
should wrap
more
up.
questions?
Yeah, we should wrap up. It's already like
We have
from-
last
What?
question that we missed. So maybe I'll answer. We don't have like art test before the start, but we always recommend you to send your portfolio if you don't know which
Yeah.
level you should aim.
Yeah.
So if you send us portfolio, we will be happy to advise you where the best to start with with our terms. So I hope this will answer. But per se we don't have like art test before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this was the last question that we missed, and
Yes.
for now, I think we have everything. So I think thank you guys for being part of this live. We hope we answer your questions. You can also see how the workload of intro and advanced term is different. So I hope so you can see how a bit glimpse of how the work in during the term is look.
Right.
And as promised, we prepare discount code for everyone who was joining us.
Yeah.
I will post on the Discord so the all guys from the community can use that. And all information about that will be posted soon. And once again, thank you. And thank you, Darek. Thank you, Michał, for sharing your knowledge and answering the questions.
It was just a little bit, but
yeah.
thank you as well, everyone, for joining.